Okay, so I will just proceed at least with my presentation so that you get an overview of what we aim to achieve in the ONTOCHAIN project and how the ONTOCHAIN project would actually influence policy making at European and international level. This new project, ONTOCHAIN, is related to trust management and technologies that would enhance the management of trust within semantically complex, dynamic, and very decentralized ecosystems of actors and resources. It's a next generation internet project. As you can see here, I would like to just shortly explain the technology base for the project ONTOCHAIN and its relationships towards the semantic web technologies stack. As you know, semantic web technologies have been, let's say, developed in the past, let's say, 20 years already, almost with the aim of achieving trust, actually. And what we can see in this slide on the right hand side is the way how the technology stack of the semantic web. We know that the standardization body for this is the World Wide Web Consortium, aims at achieving trust at the highest level of this layered architecture. So, as we know, ontologies are shared conceptualization of many things, and they have been used in practically all aspects of the semantic web. Currently, as we know also, we have a great technological push with the blockchain, where it is proven that people trust blockchain in order to make, for example, financial transactions. So these two things seem that both contribute to building trust, and this is what we wish to actually achieve in the context of the ONTOCHAIN project. This means what we aim at delivering is a new architecture that besides using semantic web technologies, it uses also blockchain in order to address trust issues in very decentralized and semantically complex ecosystems. So my actually or the University of Ljubljana approach in this project is to actually work towards this architecture that is presented in this figure that is based on, let's say, core protocols and application protocols and the various use cases that would use a semantic web in connection to blockchains in order to achieve various use cases that are related to trustworthy web and social media, trustworthy crowd sensing, services orchestration, and online social networks. So let's say that in this project, we wish to achieve several high-level goals, which means that what we wish to do is to showcase a lot of potential that these kind of technologies that we wish to integrate in the project can contribute to trust management. They could contribute to plurality and democracy, and to whatever what the cultural history of Europe has taught us in the couple of thousand years, which is important for us, to Europeans and to the world, such as trust, privacy, democracy, plurality, and aspects like this. So with this technology stack, we believe that we could showcase at the end of this exciting new project, ONTOCHAIN, use cases that would actually demonstrate much higher levels of trust when we deal with a lot of information, we deal with data, metadata, and semantics in the context of decentralized systems. So there are plenty of trust critical use cases that actually we can be addressing in the course of the project. Many cases like this pose a lot of, let's say, moral and ethical issues. For example, because we live in the era where artificial intelligence is taking part of our lives, it is possible today, as it has been demonstrated in many European projects, and we already know about very advanced projects that make it possible to deliver artificial intelligence on very distant, let's say, at the edge of the network. So it's very easy to build. It's becoming easy to build very smart environments. So the question is, of course, that we can be posing this kind of systems. Are really plenty of them that pose questions of trust. So, for example, who can gain access to my video stream and can process the video stream from what I'm presenting today, or can we trust the sensors and the traffic lights on a smart crossing in a smart city? Can we trust the documents in an archive? Can I trust the transactions I'm doing with my smart car when I move it from Ljubljana to Vienna? And who has the right to access my private files, like the files from my holidays, or like photos from my holidays and things like this? So there are many aspects like this that are important, and these are aspects that we wish to address in our ONTOCHAIN project. So the project aims at actually building a new type of structure. Let's say the building block of that structure is ONTOBlock, which contains data, references to data, metadata, knowledge, and information. And it contains access, it can access the Internet of, it can access microservices containers, edge to cloud, and so on. So the ONTOBlock is something that can be stored in the memory. It can be stored also on permanent storage, and it can be replicated across many actors. So it's something like blockchain, but it's like a block that makes the blockchain, but it contains, let's say, data, metadata, knowledge, and other information aspects. So these ONTOBlocks would be possible to be, let's say, connected together, and some of them will, as I said, stored in the memory. Some of them will be shared between many participants. Some of them will be shared by a small number of participants. But anyhow, all these blocks would contribute to building trust and will help support semantically complex and dynamic ecosystems of actors. So this is what this project ONTOCHAIN is about. And let's say we have many different scenarios, as I already spoke about, where artificial intelligence comes in place. And these kind of methods of artificial intelligence can nowadays be contracted via blockchains. So we can have a lot of information about when this information is being used, when artificial intelligence is applied to video streams, and who has provided, can we trust the information systems behind, and so on. So keeping these transactions on this ONTOCHAIN would make it possible to conclude a lot of or derive a lot of information which is important to us for building trust. An important aspect of our project, of ONTOCHAIN project, is the event management system, which means that we can publish events and then various devices and people and actors can also subscribe to different events that can be trusted because they are emitted through an independent system like ONTOCHAIN. So this is something that we are going to be developing in the course of the next uh, 3 years. There are many on-to-chain application areas and technology areas that we explore in this project. But the basis of this, you can read them here and you can see them after this session is over. However, what we aim to achieve in this project is actually the marriage between semantic web and blockchain, which means that we wish to have a method for trusted management of metadata, data, uh, semantics, and of course, knowledge and information by means of some blockchain technology, some new blockchain technology. Do we have somebody with the microphone now? I think maybe, yes. Finally, we have thought about several application areas that are important to us as a project in e-commerce, education, e-content, e-health, and so on. And we have thought about several research and innovation topics. With this, I would like to conclude. This application and research and innovation topics are related to the requirements of applications for trusted knowledge management, the way of serializing ontologies and using knowledge bases along with blockchains, on-chain knowledge management and off-chain knowledge management, various business models that would make it possible to build such ecosystems with ONTOCHAIN, and various interoperability and integration aspects which are important in order to build a software ecosystem such as ONTOCHAIN. So thank you very much. I hope I have been short enough so that there are more questions and discussions. And I also hope that Caroline and Thanasis, who also come from our uh, uh, ONTOCHAIN project. Caroline is our coordinator, and Thanasis is an academic from the business Athens Business School. So both of them take important part in the ONTOCHAIN project, and I hope they're now able to continue with their presentations. So thank you.
So thank you, Vlado. I don't know if I can be heard now. You can hear me. You hear me now?
Thanasis, so I cannot hear you. Can everybody hear Thanasis? Thanasis, it seems we cannot hear.
Now do you hear me? Yes. Okay, good. Finally. So, okay. Now you also see the presentation. I was saying that I am from Athens University of Economics and Business, and my role in this European project, ONTOCHAIN, is the IPR manager, and that we are going to have several kind of these IPR issues in ONTOCHAIN because we are building an ecosystem, a blockchain ecosystem, based on contributions of many other participants, many other people that are going to undertake one or several sub-projects, and they are going to deliver parts of the whole ecosystem. So the IPR management is going to be important here. So it's about trustworthy content handling and information exchange with blockchains. And what is the problem? The problem was that although the internet started as a platform to facilitate free speech and to facilitate business, now there has been a bias towards certain organizations or towards certain people, and there is systematic abuse of global trust. And we have identified several threats of the current internet that we are trying to solve with the blockchain ecosystem that we are going to build in the ONTOCHAIN project. And these threats are as follows. First of all, we have too much centralization of power. We all know about the big brothers out there. I mean, the big corporates that that gather and process our personal data, like Google and Microsoft and Facebook, and I will not name other big corporates, but you know them. That nowadays, I mean, they created an imbalance in the way that the information is processed and in the way that knowledge is shared in the internet. And also, there is an unknown provenance of this information. This is also related to the anonymity of the information sources. While we want the anonymity of the information sources, and in general, we want the anonymity and the privacy in the internet. At the same time, we want to assign some level of trust to the content that is contributed by the various people. So we don't have provenance for the information, and we want to retain anonymity, but at the same time, while internet claims to be anonymous in certain cases, the reality is that everyone can be traced back, or most of the users can be traced back to their real identities, and so their anonymity collapses. And also, there is lack of fairness for contributing data and in general user feedback in the various transactions. So while all these big corporates take much value from the people's personal data, they don't give value back to the people from which they gathered the data. So there is some kind of unfairness regarding the contributions of the various people and the value generated, and how the value that is generated is shared back with them. Moreover, we can identify that there can be bias in the way that the AI software is employed. Sometimes it's trained based on some limited social groups, and then is used generally. So it creates some embedded biases in the way that the AI is applied and deployed in practice. And also, although we talk about blockchain as a solution, as a decentralized solution for solving several problems, the truth is that there are several blockchain ecosystems out there, and already some silos of ecosystems are being created, and they are completely isolated to each other. So we need to also consider this problem of how we connect across these different blockchain ecosystems, and we accomplish trustworthy blockchain interoperability in a trustworthy way. So here was the part. First of all, I mean, this is a preface to the part that was presented by Vlado. In terms of technological challenges that we face in the ONTOCHAIN project, first we have to deal with the decentralization of heterogeneous components. And we do that, as you saw in the presentation of Vlado, in the first presentation. We follow an ontological approach in order to really make out from the information that is shared over a distributed ledger and match offers with requests, match preferences with needs, and we need to do all this in a safe, in a trusted and decentralized way. The second challenge is that we need to build a sustainable approach for this environment in order to develop an on-chain prototype very fast, but at the same time make sure that this platform is going to be extensible and sustainable for more people to contribute and use this ecosystem in practice in the future. So we have to inherently maintain an open and flexible design, and we have to be sure that we derive truth regarding the knowledge that is shared and regarding the real trustworthiness of entities that exchange services and information on top of this ecosystem. So this was the first part. And then then it was how we do it, the platform presentation, the presentation of Vlado, and then there is the economic part. So this has to do with, okay, we want to build something. We want to build a new ecosystem. The problem is, what is the business gap? So where do we plug in the market, in the current market, and how do we make this system, this platform, able to be developed in a sustainable way in the future? So first of all, we plug into the need for trustworthy exchanges, credible information out there, trustworthy information sharing, and at the same time, privacy-aware information exchange. So these are all needs that enable a number of applications. Some of them were mentioned by Vlado. Some of them you see here, like self-sovereign identities, job marketplace. Job marketplace, for example, it would depend on verification through degrees, recommendation letters, trust in information and fact-checking, confidential oracles, and several other sub-layers are needed in order to do this job marketplace in an efficient and a trustworthy way. So how people really do these blockchain ventures? How do they gather money? There are two main crowdfunding approaches for blockchain ventures. One of them is the classical IPO, which is the initial public offering. The practically the selling of stocks for a new company and raising some capital from public investors or from capital investors. And in general, this is a traditional way to raise money. But the more trendy way for blockchain ventures to raise money is the initial coin offering, where the procedure is very simple. You have just to write a white paper about your idea, then create a web page and an app, and then exchange your new cryptocurrency with something. And this is a way where you exchange something, a symbol, a token, for something, for an idea, basically. And the more people believe to your idea, the more money you can raise for your coin offerings. And then this is the initial coin offering is just a start, and it's a start that happens in one of the top 7 blockchain business models. Not all blockchain business models require crowdfunding, but if you require crowdfunding, then the ICO is one of the main approaches to do so. So let's see this picture just quickly, and then we will go into the details. One way with which people raise money or gain money through a blockchain ecosystem is the notion of the token economy. So the idea is that some services or some distributed applications are exchanged on top of a blockchain ecosystem, and every transaction gives a portion of the fee, or a portion of the transaction fee goes back to the platform, goes back to the blockchain ecosystem. And this is the way that this business model makes money. Another way could be the blockchain as a service, where you offer the blockchain ecosystem as a platform where people can build their own distributed applications and publish them and exchange them with other users, etc. A very close notion would be that the platform can be also rented as a development platform for building new distributed applications or for testing new ideas. And in general, the ecosystem as a whole can be sold as a know-how or as a separate software product to a company that doesn't know how to do and wants how to do it, and it wants a private solution for their corporate. It wants a blockchain platform for their corporate in order to run some proprietary services on top of it. And also this business model over here is very much related to the blockchain professional services. So here you sell the software, here you only provide the consulting, or you build a software for someone else. And there is a network fee charge. So this is a fee for using the network, and how can different vendors use the blockchain ecosystem? They can probably, as I said previously, give a transaction fee back to the ecosystem through their for the exchange of their distributed applications, or there can be a network fee for publishing new distributed applications, or for some storage space, in the ecosystem, or even for some computational capacity in the ecosystem. And finally, the seventh blockchain model is the peer-to-peer exchange model, where this is very much related to the token economy, but also independent from it. This peer-to-peer exchange could give back to the blockchain ecosystem a fee, which could be completely unrelated with the tokens, but it could be also a fee which is measured in tokens, in a cryptocurrency. So in the next slides, I go just in the details in these ones, in these notions, in these blockchain ecosystems, business models, I'm sorry. I just wanted to give you some examples. I'm sure that most of you are familiar with cryptocurrencies like ETH or EDU or ONT, which are partially owned by the blockchain ecosystem creators, and they are used for compensating blockchain contributors. Some portion may be sold in the general public, and this cryptocurrency is also used for exchanging distributed apps on top of the blockchain ecosystem. I will not go into the details of this. Development platforms, software products. I will share the slides with you after the end of this session, so you can go into the details. I wanted to give you some real-world examples. So let's see I don't know if you are familiar with the Ontology ecosystem, blockchain ecosystem. It's a new platform. It's a new blockchain system which is being run currently in Southeast in China and Southeast Asia in general. So it employs two different utility tokens. One of them is called ONT and the other is ONG. ONT is for staking, basically, for taking part in the management decisions of the whole ecosystem, while ONG is exchanged in the transactions. And this is a nice model. So first of all, in the Ontology blockchain ecosystem, they are using the proof of stake consensus model, which means that whoever has a certain amount of stake can participate in quorums that do the consistency checking for each block that is added in the blockchain. So whoever has these owns, or enough of these owns, is able to participate in this blockchain consistency checking, block consistency checking, and the addition of a new block into the system, while the ONG is the utility token that is exchanged for the different services. And the nice thing here is that while everybody can gain ONG by participating in the proof of stake consensus building, the amount of ONG that everybody has and everybody takes can be also increased periodically, basically every second, based on the amount of stake that they have already. So, for example, every second a new ONG is released, and then this one ONG is shared among all stakeholders proportionally to the amount of their stakes. So why I'm telling you all this? Because by issuing 1 trillion ONGs, is going to take, according to their release process, is going to take 18 years to distribute the whole amount of ONGs to all ONT holders. And this way, they make sure of the sustainable development and expansion of their blockchain ecosystem. And for a great amount of years. Okay. Another similar example is the Neo blockchain ecosystem, which has a similar business model. Again, two different tokens. Here, Neo represents management rights, for example, for voting, for bookkeeping, for network parameter changes, and so on. While Gas is similar to the ONG, and again, Neo as ONT is indivisible, so the minimum unit for both Neo and ONT is 1, while for ONG and Gas, the minimum unit goes to many decimal points, to a very, very small decimal number. Okay, and then again, we have a different kind of model for token distribution. You saw previously the way that they distribute the tokens in the Ontology business model. Here in Neo, they distribute differently. They first distributed 50 million tokens proportional to the supporters and developers of the Neo during the crowdfunding. And then the rest of the rest amount of 50 million Neo was kept by the Neo Council to support the long-term development and operation of the Neo ecosystem. So it means that developers of new components of the Neo system, new functionality of the Neo ecosystem, get some portion of these tokens. It's a different model. So what are we going to do in the ONTOCHAIN? First of all, we are going to build the initial ecosystem development is going to be funded by EU. So we as a consortium design a request for building blocks of the framework, design the architecture, and then people contribute particular solutions in terms of algorithms and in terms of implementations for the different components of the system, and we make sure that all these components are going to be interoperable to each other. And at the end of the day, even complete use cases with real-world applications are going to be built and demonstrate the efficiency of the whole system. This, as I said, is going to be funded by the EU. The thing is that for sustainable development of the system after the period of this project, some initial ideas are to also employ ideas from the tokenomics and run the ONTOCHAIN platform as a P2P services exchange platform. And for this purpose, we are going to also to have some ICO. It's very important to be careful and design carefully the way that we are going to distribute the tokens, because it's directly linked to the consensus building and to the sustainable development of the platform, and also to the to maintaining the community around this platform. So the platform by itself is nothing without the community of developers and without the community of users that are going to be using the different distributed applications on this platform. And also this ecosystem is going to be used as a service and development platform. And we also have under consideration to issue fees for using this ecosystem for testing purposes and for sharing services on top of it. So these are preliminary ideas, but I mean, we wanted to raise the issues here and to see that these very small decisions regarding the token distribution, whether we are going to have a token or not, whether we are going to charge a fee and how much, all these actually decisions are going to affect the incentives that are for being part of this ecosystem and for expanding this ecosystem in the future and for the sustainable development of the ONTOCHAIN platform. So and then we reached the session of questions and answers, and I'm going to pose one or two questions here, and we can also hear your questions through the chat and try to answer them or discuss with you potential ideas of issues that can be raised or problems or solutions that we can find around these issues. So there are many blockchain ecosystems out there. What is our competitive advantage and how to maintain it? This could be one question. And the second question is that platform compatibility might make it easier for existing DApp developers to contribute, but maybe someone can see it as a double-edged sword, because while some existing DApp developers may come to the platform and develop and share their DApps on top of this platform, on the other hand, the real magic of ONTOCHAIN and the solutions provided by ONTOCHAIN might be easily transferred to other blockchain ecosystems, so that ONTOCHAIN might lose its magic. So it's kind of a decision that has to be made carefully, and also this is also related to the first question. We have to make sure that the particular solutions that make ONTOCHAIN system unique, like decentralized reputation systems on top of which we are going to build trust for content and for people, and the distributed oracles functionality, and the functionality of the ontological representations and the ontology matching of information on top of the platform, and the automatic discovery of services that match offers, and all these kind of unique solutions that are going to be offered on top of ONTOCHAIN that really cannot be copied easily by other platforms. Otherwise, there is not going to be any magic in this particular endeavor. So I don't know if I see some other people from the consortium that are sharing some information in the chat. For example, Miguel Goncalves, and also Alberto Sciaramella, and Caroline. Maybe she solved the problem with Mike. Okay, so do you have any questions for all the speakers? Yeah, some information for the open codes would be very interesting to know. Okay. First, we are going to announce the first round of open calls very soon. We plan it for middle and at the latest end of October. I think that the middle of October is going to be out. where we will actually call for ideas towards specific topics of interest that we are going to announce. We are going to announce 6 topics of interest. We are converging on these topics right now within the consortium. And then people are going to provide some concrete ideas of how to develop each particular topic that we are going to announce. And based on these concrete ideas, we are going to select the winners of this first round of calls, and these winners, which are going to be 2 per topic, 2 winners per topic, and then they are going to develop a full proposal with concrete, very concrete approach for dealing with each topic in a period of 3 to 5 months. I cannot recall that right now. Caroline or Vlado help me in this. Is it going to be the project development in the duration of 3 to 5 months, if I am not wrong? And then they are going to submit their full proposal for addressing each topic after this period of 3 to 5 months. And they are going to be awarded a grant, and based on this grant they are going to really implement particular solutions around its topic, and then we have a second round where we are going to be very specific regarding the what we demand for different components to be built of the whole architectural framework. And in the third phase, we are going to ask for apps and demonstrators of complete solutions that are employing the whole end-to-end ONTOCHAIN platform. Okay, one important thing regarding the funding is that so first of all, it's going to be gradual. Okay, small amounts of money in the first calls and the larger amounts of money in the subsequent calls. One important information is that each participant, each assignee cannot receive more than 200,000 euros in total. So regarding the funding scheme for the full proposals, there is no actual there is no bound for this for the funding of each proposal. In the second phase, there is no actual upper bound. The only upper bound that we have right now is the 200K per participant. But you can come individually in consortiums of 2, 3, 4 organizations or whatever. Any other question? Yeah, coaching is going to be there in the whole process. both in the first phase and in the second phase of the project. Maybe even in the third phase, where we are going to have the app development. We are not sure about that yet. But in the first and second phases, where we develop parts of the framework, definitely the coaching is going to be there. And of course, this is one of ONTOCHAIN platform is one of the few European efforts to really replicate or go ahead the competition and the blockchain ecosystems internationally. Do we have to declare which ONTOCHAIN partner we expect to have as mentor coach? That's a detail that I cannot tell you right now, Chris. Normally, no. We assign mentors to the different partners or to the different assignees of the sub projects, but we can discuss about that. Okay, one thing that I wanted to also mention is that this project started 1st of September ONTOCHAIN, and it's evolving really fast. And already we have a pretty much good and precise idea of all the things that we want to achieve. But still, you have to understand that it is really very early in the project, and we are really progressing on the specifications of the various things very quickly, but we don't have all the specifications ready yet. Yeah, and as Alberto says, we are going to give webinars for the calls, especially for the calls. Anybody else? From the consortium, want to say something? Anybody? So, in any case, I think that that was the time that we had in our disposal. So, I guess that we are going to be wrapping up. So, thanks everybody for being here.